Have you ever lain in bed, your body completely exhausted, but your mind suddenly wide awake, as if someone had flipped a switch? The lights are off, the room is quiet, you know you need to sleep, but inside, something from earlier in the day begins to replay. A simple message that only said, "yeah," suddenly feels suspicious. A slightly strange look, a short silence, something that has not even happened yet. All of it turns into dozens of possible scenarios. On the outside, you may look completely normal, but on the inside, it feels like a meeting that never ends. Every thought walks in, carrying another theory, another worry, another reason why your body cannot fully let go. If you recognize yourself in that scene, maybe you are not weak. And maybe you are not someone who enjoys making things complicated. Maybe your brain is simply trying to protect you, but in a way that has become too much. Overthinking is not just thinking a lot. It is what happens when your ability to analyze loses its filter, then turns back and starts working against you. It turns small things into signs of danger. It turns silence into an answer. It turns the future into a chain of disasters you feel you have to prepare for. And this is where many people get stuck. They have tried journaling, breathing, meditation, telling themselves, stop thinking about it. But the harder they try to control their thoughts, the more tangled everything becomes. Maybe the problem is not the tool itself. Maybe it is the way you have been using it. Before we talk about how to get out of this cycle, let's look at how overthinking may already be showing up in your everyday life. Even one small detail can turn into a courtroom inside your mind. Someone texts "okay" instead of sending a longer reply like they usually do. A friend seems quieter than normal. A coworker looks at you, then turns away. And almost immediately your mind starts investigating. Did I do something wrong? Are they upset with me? Did I talk too much? Are they judging me? You replay every sentence, every period, every pause, as if the truth will finally reveal itself if you analyze it carefully enough. But most of the time, there is no clear truth to find. There is only a brain trying to detect the risk of being rejected, abandoned, or misunderstood. This can make you seem very perceptive. You read the room quickly. You notice the smallest shifts, but the cost is that your nervous system almost never gets to rest. And overthinking does not stop at what other people think of you. Sometimes it pulls you into things that have not even happened yet. The night before an interview, an important meeting, a presentation, or even just a difficult message you need to send, you are supposed to rest. But your brain switches into disaster simulation mode. You imagine yourself saying the wrong thing. Other people being disappointed. Everything falling apart. One small moment turns into a chain of consequences, as if you are already living through the worst version of tomorrow tonight. Your brain is confusing preparation with control. It believes that if you can predict enough bad outcomes, you will somehow be safer. But in reality, you step into the next day with a tense body, a tired mind, and a stronger tendency to blame yourself. The dangerous part is that overthinking often disguises itself as responsibility. It makes you believe you are being careful, mature, and well prepared. But if that kind of preparation drains you before you have even begun, then it is no longer preparation. It is self-exhaustion. You cannot control the future by punishing yourself in the present. You know so much, but you still feel stuck. You read books. You watch videos. You save hundreds of pieces of advice. You understand that you should sleep earlier, start that project, speak more clearly, set boundaries, take action. But when it is time to actually do it, you freeze. This is not always laziness. Sometimes it is paralysis by analysis. You are not lacking information. You are lacking a starting point small enough for your brain not to treat it like a threat. Because preparation always feels safer than action. As long as everything stays inside your mind, you have not been rejected yet. You have not been judged. You have not failed. You have not had to face the possibility that the result may not be perfect. And that is the trap. Overthinking makes you feel like you are making progress, when in reality, you are just standing for a very long time in front of a door you are afraid to open. But these three signs are only the surface. The deeper question is this: why is the modern brain so easily trapped in overthinking? Why is the modern brain more vulnerable to overthinking than ever before? The human brain was designed to detect danger, but it was not designed to process an endless stream of stimulation all day, every day. In the past, your brain needed to notice a strange sound, an unfamiliar expression, a sign of danger in the environment. But today, danger can look like an unanswered email, an unseen message, a post that makes you feel behind, a notification that pulls you out of the present, or the quiet fear that you are missing something. On the outside, you may only be scrolling your phone for a few minutes, but on the inside, your brain is constantly switching scenes. A little laughter, a little worry, a little comparison, a little tension, and after a while, stillness starts to feel uncomfortable. When nothing is happening, the mind begins to create its own data. It takes an unanswered message, an unclear sentence, a slightly tense face, and turns them into material for a whole series of theories. Overthinking does not always come from a real problem. Sometimes it comes from a brain that has grown used to overload, so when the world becomes quiet, it creates noise of its own. You are not just losing time. You are losing life energy. Each loop of thought does not only take a few minutes from you, it takes away your ability to recover, your focus, your sense of presence, and your belief that you can handle life. You may sleep enough hours and still feel tired. A heavy head, tight shoulders, a clenched jaw, a slow, drained afternoon. You crave sugar. You crave your phone. You crave anything that helps you escape the feeling of being trapped inside your own mind. Mentally, overthinking often pulls you into three places that are almost impossible to control: the past that has already happened, the future that has not arrived yet, and the thoughts inside other people's heads. Logical thinking is a gift, but overthinking is what happens when that gift is aimed at the wrong target. You are using your ability to analyze in order to solve questions that have no clear answer. And that is why the solution is not to force your mind into silence. The solution is to create a filter for your thoughts. Writing things down is not about dumping emotional waste onto the page. It is about restructuring your thoughts. Many people hear the advice, just journal. But after writing, they still feel even more tangled, because all they have done is pour the entire storm in their head onto a piece of paper, then close the notebook. That may bring relief for a few minutes, but it does not always help you understand what you actually need to do. Writing is not meant to be an endless retelling of your anxiety. It is meant to turn a thought from something that is swallowing you from the inside into something you can see from the outside. Keep it short. First, write the problem in a few lines. For example, I am worried because this person replied colder than usual. I'm afraid I may have done something wrong. Then pause and read it again. When you read it back, you are no longer completely trapped inside the thought. You become the one observing it. Finally, filter it through two questions. Is this within my control? And if it is, what is the smallest action I can take right now? A thought only stops swallowing you when you turn it into something you can see, sort, and act on. You cannot escape a thought loop by thinking more about it. The more you argue with a thought, the more energy you give it. Sometimes, what you need is not a better argument. It is a signal from the body that breaks the circuit. Try a 5-second pause. Stop. Relax your jaw. Drop your shoulders. Open your hands if you are clenching them. Then exhale more slowly than usual. You do not need to force yourself to feel calm right away. You only need to send your nervous system a signal that this moment is not an emergency. Do this when you look at a message and start imagining too much. When you are working, but your mind keeps running back to an old argument, When you catch yourself checking your phone just to find some sign of reassurance. Every time you're able to pause for 5 seconds, you are teaching your brain again that not every thought needs to be chased. There is something that needs to be said clearly. Sometimes, overthinking is simply a mental habit shaped by stress, overload, or a lack of inner filtering. But sometimes it comes with deeper layers. If your stream of thoughts brings panic, depression, painful memories, a feeling of losing control, or repeated images from old wounds, self-help may not be enough. Seeking support does not mean you are weak. It means you are taking your mind seriously enough not to make it fight alone. For many people, the 2 small tools above are a good place to begin. But for deeper wounds, you deserve a safer space where you can be supported. Overthinking does not mean you are broken. Very often it is just a protective mechanism being overused in a world filled with too much stimulation. Understanding this is one thing, but change begins when you practice in the exact moment your mind starts running. Today, do not try to fix your entire life. Just choose one small thing. Write down one thought that has been draining you. Then ask, is this within my control? And if it is, what is the smallest action I can take right now? Or simply pause for 5 seconds. Exhale slowly. Come back to your body. And if there is a thought you are learning to let go of, write it in the comments. You do not need to explain too much. Just one honest sentence is enough. Someone else may be stuck in the same place as you, and they may need to know they are not alone. If this video helped you see your mind with a little more gentleness, subscribe to the channel so we can continue understanding ourselves more deeply in the next videos. You do not need to force your mind into silence right away. You only need to take back control, one small pause at a time.